Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Fifth Thought Show. It's your host with the most, King Truth, Hosenberg, Benny Bow, the one with the word, the one with the flow. And we coming at you live, man, at 2:20. Appreciate everybody liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, hit that notification bell so I know y'all there, so I can throw it to you when it's in the air. You see the title, man. Former DJ Tim Westwood charged with 15 offenses relating to Former DJ Tim Westwood charged with 15 offenses relating to 7 women, as well as 4 counts of rape per essay. We gonna break it down, man. If you aren't familiar with Tim Westwood, he was a DJ out of the UK. He would do a lot of different freestyle shows with a lot of different artists back in the day. And now it looks like apparently he is being charged with some essay charges and some rape charges, stuff like this. We're gonna go over to Trap More Loss. We're gonna go over here, Trap More Ross right here. Yeah, but that's his YouTube channel, Trap More Ross. We will go over to Trap La Ross YouTube over here. And yeah, man, we gonna watch it, react to it. Let's get into it.
Tell you a little bit of the backstory and I'm just going to report on what's going on out here. Okay, people, we've got some pretty crazy news out of the UK. Okay, I don't talk about the UK too much on this channel these days, but this is a major story and it involves really one of the most legendary figures in the UK music and the UK hip-hop scene for the last few decades. Okay, so look, I'm just going to tell you what's going on. I'm not going to give you too much of my own opinion, but I'm going to tell you a little bit of the backstory and I'm just going to report on what's going on out here. It has just landed today that former Radio 1 DJ Tim Westwood has been charged with 4 counts of the R word. Okay, look, if you know hip-hop, if you know the UK hip-hop scene, you'll know that Tim Westwood was probably the top DJ for hip-hop music for decades. He was on the BBC, not that kind of BBC. He's on the British Broadcasting Corporation. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I grew up, you know, as a little kid. I mean, this is a random story, man, but you know, when I was a kid, man, my grandmother, my nan, she was dying of cancer, and you know, we used to have to drive a long way to go and visit her. And I just remember late nights, you know, driving back in the car from those visits before she passed away, and just hearing the Tim Westwood show on the radio. You know, all of those hip hop songs. How I became what I am today is partly because of Tim Westwood DJ and playing those songs. I would have been a little kid. He's bumping DMX, Rough Riders, you know what I mean, MOP, like all these classic songs, and having all these things on the radio. Tim Westwood really brought that stuff into my life. I've just got to be honest about you, okay? This guy was very, very influential to me. He was influential to the whole UK music scene, but now these allegations have apparently led to actual charges. There'd been all these rumors for years. Some people didn't believe it, some people did. But this is what's going on, man. Ex-Radio 1 and former Capital Extra DJ Tim Westwood has been charged with 4 counts of R-word, the Metropolitan Police have said. The 68-year-old has also been charged with 9 counts of indecent assault and 2 counts of SA. The charges relate to 7 women. And what's really crazy is just how far back they're going with this stuff, man. So they're spanning from 1983 all the way up to 2016. Westwood is due to appear in court on the 10th of November, and he's been charged with these offences. In 1983, a 17-year-old girl was allegedly indecently assaulted in Fulham in London. Okay. 1986, a woman in her 20s was allegedly indecently assaulted in Vauxhall. And these are all like nice bougie areas of London, to be honest with you. Between 1995 and 1996, a female between the age of 17 and 18 was allegedly R-word in London, and it's alleged the same woman was also indecently assaulted in central London in the same time frame. Between 2000 and 2001, a female between the age of 17 and 18 was allegedly R-word and indecently assaulted in London. In 2010, they're saying that a woman was allegedly R-word, and also a woman in her 20s was essayed in Stroud. And in 2016, that's the most recent charge. A woman in her 20s was allegedly essayed in the Finchley area of London. Lionel Idon, chief Crown prosecutor, said our prosecutors have established that there is insufficient evidence to bring the case to trial, and that it's in the public interest that there is sufficient evidence to bring the case to trial, and it's in the public interest to pursue criminal proceedings. The Crown Prosecution Service reminded everyone that criminal proceedings are active. The defendant has a right to a fair trial, and that's facts. It's extremely important that there be no reporting, commentary, or sharing of information online which could anyway prejudice these proceedings. Now, okay, look, I'm not going to give any of my opinion. In the UK, they got all these reporting restrictions, you know what I'm saying? I keep it real. I ain't in the UK right now. I'm not going to cap. I ain't in the UK. I don't, but I got to play it safe, okay? I got to play it safe. I got to go back to the UK soon, okay? But we can't say anything. We can't give our opinion. We can't say, bro, I don't think he did it. We can't say, I really think he did. We can't do that right now. That's what they're saying, okay? They're making that very clear. So I don't want to catch.
I do remember, though, like probably like maybe 7 months ago, they did put an article out that he was already getting accused of 1 count of SA, but then now all this is coming out. So it isn't a new thing. I really don't think so, because people was like around, could have been September of last year. I seen an article about it.
Case. I'm not going to give too much of my opinions. Okay, you can give me your own opinions on this. It says Detective Superintendent Andy Furphy of the Metropolitan Police continue to appeal for further witnesses. It takes courage to come forward and report allegations of this nature. Okay. I mean, that's quite interesting, right? I mean, I didn't want to say too much, but it says Westwood was an early champion of hip hop in the UK and came to public attention when he began hosting his rap show on Radio 1 from 1994. In 2022, following a joint investigation with The Guardian, BBC News broadcast accusations of 18 women who claimed there was predatory and unwanted sexual behavior and touching by Tim Westwood in alleged incidents from 1992 to 1997. Now, this was all part of
the BBC has issued an apology.
This was all part of a big documentary that they made. Okay, they basically made the surviving R. Kelly for Tim Westwood. They broadcast it on the BBC. I remember watching this a couple of years ago. Said let me read you the blurb for this, okay? Because they've really been trying to broadcast these allegations about Westwood for years now, and you know, it's finally actually got to the stage where it's getting you know, legally followed up with, let's say. I feel like I've got to be really careful with my words in this video, but it says for 40 years, Tim Westwood dominated the UK black music scene. The white DJ was an early adopter of hip hop in the 80s and presented BBC Radio 1's rap show for almost 20 years before moving to Capital Extra in 2013. The self-styled Big Dog, or I remember listening to he used to have these mix CDs. It was like, he used to have these mix CDs back in the day where he was called like the Big Dog, like, and he used to have all these drops like DJ Khaled style, like, this is the Big Dog, Tim Westwood. Man, wait, let me pull that. Man, like, you see this? These CDs were so classic, man. The Big Dog, and he would have just all the most famous rap songs all on there. He had dozens of these, man, like dozens of just different albums. He had all the big name artists. Like, can I zoom in and see actually who he had on there on this one? Man, like, he had MOP, DMX, Terror Squad, Kanye, J-Quan, Dizzy Rascal, Lil Jon. Like, these were popping back in the day, man, okay? That don't have no bearing on the case, but all I'm trying to say is that back in the day, when Tim Westwood was spinning the turntables, when he was dropping compilations, he had it on lock, man. He had it on lock. But they made this documentary about him. The self-styled Big Dog had everyone from Jay-Z to Nicki Minaj on his shows, and his stint presenting Pimp My Ride made him a household name. In a joint investigation by the BBC and The Guardian, allegations of misconduct have been brought to light. And in this explosive documentary, 6 women spoke out about their experiences for the first time, claiming he misused his powerful position in the music industry to take advantage of them. The earliest incident took place in 1992, the most recent in 2017. All of the women are black. The 64-year-old DJ strenuously denies the allegations. 3 of the women have accused Westwood of opportunistic and predatory sexual behavior when they met him to discuss their music or were invited to London to do work experience with him at the BBC. They were 17, 19, and 20 at the time. Another 3 women in their late teens or early 20s met Westwood at club nights when he DJ'd. The women who have never spoken say that they posed for a photo with the DJ and he put his hand inside their top, down their shorts or up their skirt, leaving them shocked and shaken. Okay, so this was big. All right, this was a very big thing in the scene. Now, for the record, again, look, I'm not overly defending or putting him down because it's, at the end of the day, it sounds like there's reporting restrictions on this. Man, it's just a crazy situation. So not only that, right, but it also was reported that he had allegedly engaged in bullying behavior at the BBC, and the BBC actually came out to apologize for missed opportunities to basically stamp out alleged bullying behavior. And what I find interesting is I think until this actual set of charges dropped, I feel like everybody was very selective about the words that they used about Tim Westwood. It's not me defending, it's not me putting him down, but even in this, right, you know, and I'm not saying if it's true, I'm not saying that it's okay, but there's not there's not an R-word allegation in this documentary. That wasn't what it was. It was, you know, unwanted touching, misconduct, but it wasn't straight up the R-word. Now they're putting the straight up R-word on him now that these new allegations have come out, and it is looking very serious. But even this was 7 months ago. The BBC claimed that they were sorry that they missed opportunities. But in this, again, no R-word. In this one, they're using the phrase bullying behavior. So again, it just goes to show you how over the last few years, these alleged allegations against him have kind of ramped up. They've got more serious. The rhetoric's kind of, you know, it started as misconduct. Here it's bullying behavior, unwanted advances, and now they're throwing the full-blown R-word at him.
Apologies, saying it fell short and failed people after an independent review into allegations against the DJ Tim Westwood found evidence of bullying and misogynistic behaviour. The report was commissioned in 2022 when 18 women made allegations of predatory and unwanted sexual behaviour, all strongly denied by Tim Westwood. The findings reveal there were several occasions when the BBC missed opportunities that might have led to action. Chichi Izundu reports.
Now that I'm older, realise that, you know, it was grooming and predatory. But at that time, you didn't want the shame because, you know, I'll get the blame, not him. I'll get the blame because I'm no one. So I just kept quiet because then you won't get pointed and looked at, oh yeah, that's the girl that, you know, accused, you know, Tim of sexually abusing her when she was underage.
I didn't know how old he was.
It was these stories from 18 black women who came forward in 2022 to detail what they described as unwanted predatory sexual behaviour and touching against the former BBC Radio 1 DJ Tim Westwood that triggered this report.
Welcome to the Radio 1.
Tim Westwood was known for his love of hip-hop, championing the genre on UK radio from the early 90s. The BBC today apologised, saying it fell short because the report found a considerable body of evidence that it failed to investigate properly. Today's report did find that there was no widespread or significant knowledge about the allegations, but it is critical about how BBC management handled complaints about Tim Westwood, highlighting that a response to some of the incidents it found could have been a referral to police. In response to today's report, the BBC board stated there is evidence of bullying and misogynistic behaviour. The organisation fell short and failed people, including our own staff, who had a right to expect better from us.
It's Westwood!
Tim Westwood started work in Radio 1 in 1994 and left in 2013. The report concluded his departure.
Man, he had the Pimp My Ride UK, man. Who remembers Pimp My Ride with Exhibit? You know, Tim Westwood, man. He had. That's why this is just it's a hard news to receive, man, because this is just a legendary guy that I looked up to for years. And, you know, we just got to see how this case works out. I'm not trying to push it either one or which way, but this guy's had so many crazy moments, man, so many legendary moments. Pimp My Ride UK was popping, man. He had the UK version. I don't want to get hit with a copyright here, but I'm just trying to see my man Tim pop out, because he, man, just it was this era was legendary, man. I don't. I'm gonna catch copyright if I'm not careful.
Destroying you.
Tell me about it.
You know, we've changed your life. The boys have hooked you up with the crazy heat. You know that road trip to Europe?
Yep.
It's a go.
Man, it's just crazy. It's crazy to see, man. It's crazy to see. So yeah, you know, this is the full-blown news report where they're basically saying that this is breaking news. You know, that he's been charged with this. Look, I'm not thinking that there's going to be anything new or interesting in here, but I do just want to say one thing for the record. So for the record, right, he has denied these allegations several times. This was back when it was the just sexual misconduct claims. But you know, look, his position is he wants to clear his name. That's what he said. Okay, and there's been a couple of statements from him. This is one of them.
In a statement, a spokesperson for Tim Westwood said he strongly denies all allegations of inappropriate behaviour. In a career that has spanned 40 years, there have never been any complaints made against him, officially or unofficially, and that he strongly rejects all allegations of wrongdoing.
So it's not just that, right? He was actually caught, well, not caught, well, kind of caught. He was actually caught outside by, you know, just a random fan or journalist, one definitely not a fan, but again, he denied these allegations in person. And
why do you think it's okay to harass and sexually assault black women? Why do you think it's always been okay to sexually assault black women?
Please.
What? Do you think that we're less than? Do you think we're not worth it? Do you think we're not worth it? Don't call me baby. Don't call me baby.
It's all false allegations.
Okay, can you explain why it's false allegations?
It's all false allegations.
Tim Westwood.
Sorry? It's all false allegations.
Yeah, so you've never touched underage black girls? Allow it. Who are you talking about? Allow it. Who are you?
You allow me.
Don't allow you what? Do you think it's been all right to harass and sexually assault black women?
I've never done that.
You've never done that?
Never done that.
So where did them stories come from then?
They're all false allegations.
False allegations?
Period.
So they were lying?
Period.
Yeah?
And I will prove that.
So when are you going to prove it?
As soon as I get my opportunity and trust, I'm ready.
Because haven't you been arrested recently?
No, I haven't been arrested, please. Allow it.
Don't allow me, bruv.
Allow it.
Yeah? So you didn't do it then?
So look, he's denying it. He's saying that he wants the opportunity to clear his name. Okay, so look, it's a tough one to swallow, man, because you know these are people that you look up to, you know, for years, and you just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Now he says he's going to clear his name. You know, if he does clear his name and he does end up beating these charges, then you know the narrative is going to completely change. I can't say for or against. There's reporting restrictions, and also it's just I'm realistically I'm probably, you know, I'm probably too emotionally invested. Like I said, this guy has been the, you know, was the original hip hop DJ in the UK for decades. He was holding down his position. I'm not gonna lie, Charlie Sloth did kind of come and take his spot, and you know him and Charlie Sloth had a little beef. Shout out to Charlie Sloth. You know what I mean? He took that new generation. He kind of took the title of the top BBC Radio 1 DJ, and now even there's new people that have kind of come in, taking that, you know, that hot spot. People like Kenny Allstar. You know, there's been a lot of really big DJs in the UK that have really put on for the culture and really put a lot of people on to American hip hop in the UK, man. And Tim Westwood was just one of the biggest cornerstones for decades in the UK music scene. So, you know, it is really sad to see how everything's turned out. You know, it's sad to hear about these allegations, and as he said, he's going to try and clear his name. So let's keep track of this case. You know, I'll keep track of it. I'm also going to do a little bit more research into like the reporting restrictions on this, whether they still apply if I report on this from the US, because I would like to give more backstory on this situation, because I probably know more than the average person about Tim Westwood's career, to be honest with you. But these allegations, they have been around for a while. They did that whole documentary on him. That was a very damning documentary. It was kind of a surviving R. Kelly style documentary. And, you know, a lot of people were wondering if charges were ever going to come. And when the BBC pop out and start apologizing for stuff, charges often follow behind. But at the same time, okay, the BBC, they did a lot to protect people over the years. You know what I'm saying? The BBC ain't never step in the way of what Jimmy Savile had going on. Okay. But now they putting out statements. Okay, they apologizing for things that were going on under Tim Westwood's period of time, and it's a very interesting contrast, man. And you know, the BBC have had scandal after scandal. Okay, so there's a lot of nonsense going on in that BBC building. It is very messed up, man. It is very messed up. So look, I'll be following this case closely. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I see, interestingly, like a lot of the news reports on this. I see this the original BBC news report on it. They actually had the comments turned off. I think in the UK, if you know about the UK freedom of speech, we ain't really got that. Okay, we ain't really got that freedom of speech in the UK, bro. People get put in prison. People are doing jail time over tweets and Facebook posts, and you can actually catch a case off of the back of even reporting on things the wrong way, which is absolutely crazy. Okay, they don't really be rocking like that in the United States. So I'm going to do a bit more research into that. I'm also going to do a live stream with a guy called Chris Summers, who runs a very big Twitter page for following UK crime, UK cases, and he often gets into the courtroom and reports on cases. He reported on the suspect case.
I was gonna say, but if you could transfer the 15 to the thing that so I get this Vicks toilet paper and some root beer. Fuck.
All the HRB case that Fredo nearly got wrapped up in. You know, all of the Billy Billions case, the guy's just been sentenced. So he's a really great UK crime reporter. I'm probably going to talk to him about this. We're going to do a live stream next week, I think. So stay tuned for that. We're going to have a real UK crime expert come and give some opinions on some of these cases that have been going on. And he's going to let me know whether or not I can even talk about this stuff. Because really in the UK, we ain't got that freedom of speech. But yeah, that's the latest, man. This crazy report about what's going on with Tim Westwood. And man, I'm going to be following this one closely and just waiting to find out what the result is. And I think in the UK, trials tend to move a lot quicker than the US. So, you know, we might actually see this going to court soon. He wants to clear his name. He wants to, you know, he's saying he's denying the allegations. And he said in that interview where he got cornered that he's got evidence. So it'd be really interesting to see what he's got, what his defense is and all of this stuff. And we'll be following this case very closely. And I'm going to be very careful and be on my P's and Q's because I don't want to catch no contempt of court case because I don't even know. This guy, Graham Linehan, he was a comedian. He doesn't even live in the UK. He made tweets in America and they arrested him when he landed back in the UK. So I ain't trying to catch no case, man. I'm a law-abiding citizen, bro. I ain't trying to be on the wing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be on the wing with these guys. But who knows, man? Who knows? Man, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. So anyway, I'll catch you guys up on any more information about this case as it comes out. But this is major news for the UK scene, major news for the rap scene. And yeah, we're going to have to just keep track of this one, man. It's actually crazy news, man. It's actually crazy news. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. I've got some more videos coming later today. Appreciate you for checking in. I'm out. Peace. Okay, people.
You already did down there. All right.
Okay, people, we've got some pretty crazy news out of the UK, okay? I don't talk about the UK too much on this channel these days, but this is a major story.
Okay, so it looks like... Oh, yeah, he was messing with Diddy, huh? I forgot about that. There's a couple videos of Tim Westwood with Diddy back in the day, so maybe that's something right there. But I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna see what it's 11 minutes. We're gonna see what academics is talking about. Oh, actually, no, we're gonna watch the BBC News.
Now let's return to that breaking news of the last few minutes. Just let me remind you what prosecutors here in the UK have said. They have charged the former BBC Radio DJ Tim Westwood with 4 counts of rape, 9 counts of indecent assault, and 2 other counts.
Yeah, 9 counts. 4 counts of rape, 9 counts of decency, and what?
Of sexual assault. So those details coming in the last few minutes. Here in the studio with me is our senior UK correspondent, Seema Katecha. And Seema, just tell us a little more what the Crown prosecution have actually said in the last few minutes.
Yes, right. So Matthew, as you say, Tim Westwood, 68-year-old, used to be a DJ on 1Extra.
Damn, he's 68 now? That's crazy.
For many, many years. He has now been charged with 9 counts of indecent assault, 2 counts of sexual assault, 4 counts of rape. Now, these relate to non-recent offences between 1983 and 2016 involving 7 women, so they're not recent, and he's going to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court on the 11th of November. We can tell you what the CPS say. They say that they've decided to prosecute Tim Westwood for a series of serious offences. Our prosecutors have established that there is sufficient evidence to bring the case to trial and that it is in the public interest to pursue criminal proceedings. The Crown Prosecution Service reminds everyone that criminal proceedings are active and that the defendant has the right to a fair trial. I can bring you a few more details from the Metropolitan Police. about these allegations of these offences. He's been charged with the following. In 1983, a 17-year-old girl was indecently assaulted in the Fulham area of London. In 1986, a woman in her 20s was sexually assaulted in the Vauxhall area of London. Between 1995 and 1996, a female between the ages of 17 and 18 was raped in London. It is also alleged that the same woman was sexually assaulted in central London within the same time frame. Between 2000 and 2001, a female between the ages of 17 and 18 was raped and sexually assaulted in London. In 2010, a woman in her 20s was raped in London. In 2010, a woman in her 20s was sexually assaulted in Stroud. In 2016, a woman in her 20s was sexually assaulted in the Finchley area of London. And as I said, these charges relate to seven.
The first one was a 17-year-old in, he said 1999, and the rest of them are all early 2000 cases.
Different women.
A couple of questions. Remind people watching around the world a little more about who Tim Westwood was. How long did he work for the BBC? When did these allegations first emerge? And has there been any reaction from him or the BBC?
Yes, so he worked on One Extra for many, many years. One of the most famous DJs at that time. And some of our viewers and listeners may recall that in, let me just remind you of the date, 2022 in April, the BBC actually carried out an investigation where it heard from 18 different women making very serious allegations about Tim Westwood. That investigation was carried out by a reporter, Chichi Azundu. That was back in 2022. So a very prominent DJ at that time. We've not heard anything from him as yet. We've not heard anything from the BBC either. But this story has just broken in the last 20 minutes or so.
Seema, I know you're going to keep an eye on it. Thanks for bringing us the latest. And if there is more, we'll obviously return to you. Let's return.
Tim Westwood was shot by motorcycle gunmen as he drove in his Range Rover in South London.
The rap and hip-hop DJ was returning from the Lambeth Country Show with his four-man crew when the drive-by hitmen struck at traffic lights on the busy Kennington Park Road.
The DJ's Jeep was targeted by two men on a motorbike in Kennington while he and five colleagues were returning from playing a gig in Brixton.
Born the son of a bishop in East Anglia, I know that Tim Westwood sounds a lot more Alan Partridge than gangland drive-by shootings. But before the bullets start flying, I personally think it would be best to take a refresher course in the illustrious career of the big dog himself. Tim left school at 16 and got the bug for the nightclub scene after working as a glass collector around 1980, a position which he explained with gusto in the past.
What glass collector is like, I mean, if you're in a party and, you know, you're drinking, you're getting your drink on, you put your glasses down, there's like some kid on, like, you know, no money at all, collecting those glasses and washing them and putting them back behind the bars.
Got it, glass collector. So you collect glasses. Not to be confused with an arse collector, a vase collector, or a brass collector. Anyway, after completing his collection of glasses, he found himself working as a
Trap the rules.
warm-up act for the DJ David Rodigan, eventually finessing the opportunity to have his very own set on the Wheels of Steel if he could pack out the club.
That was 5 years ago.
Now let's return to...
I don't know. Anyway, let me move on. We might jump back to it. Really quickly.
It's going to be academics' take on the Tim Westwood situation.
Tim Westwood has been officially charged with several counts of sexual assault, aka R word. Okay. Now, it said the former BBC Radio 1 DJ Tim Westwood has been charged with sexual offenses against 7 women, including 4 counts of R word. Now, this is a criminal case, not even civil. The Metropolitan Police say the 68-year-old guy had been charged with offenses dating from 1983 to 2016. Now, Chad, what does this mean? They literally think this guy is the Bill Cosby of the UK. You get what I'm saying? Except what Cosby used to say? He used to be talking about Jello. Shit, looked like this nigga had tea and crumpets for these chicks. Like, he probably was
pudding, not Jello, but yeah.
Was Bill Cosby and the tea and crumpets. I know it's not funny, but come on now. Metropolitan Police says a 68-year-old had been charged with the offenses dating from 1983 to 2016. Officers said their investigation remained open and urged anyone with further information to come forward. He was been charged with 15 offenses related to 7 young women, 4 counts of R-word, 9 counts of indecent assault, and 2 counts of sexual assault. The alleged violence included the R-word of a female aged between 17 and 18 in London between 95 and 96, as well as sexual assault of the same girl in central London in a similar time period. He's also been charged with R-word and sexual assault of a female aged between 17 and 18 in London between 2000 and 2002. The R-word of a woman in her 20s in London in 2010. Other charges include indecent assault of a 17-year-old girl in Fulham, London in 1983, sexual assault of a woman in her 20s. Oh, wow, this is a lot of shit, man. Yeah, this is a lot of shit. Our investigation remains open, and we encourage anyone who has been impacted by this case or anyone with information to come forward to speak with us. They got a hotline for this nigga, man. Shit. Wow. Now, he was released by BBC One Extra, I believe 2 years ago. But they're saying in 2022, they published an account of 18 women who accused the former DJ of sexual misconduct and predatory behavior, alleged to have happened between 1992 and 2017. In response to historical allegations, he previously strongly denied the allegation of inappropriate behavior. He stepped down from a show on Capital Extra in April 2022 and left Radio 1 and Radio 1 Extra after 20 years. Says it takes courage to come forward. That's what Detective Superintendent Andy Furry said. The women have done so, put their trust in us, and we continue to provide them with all available support. Our investigation remains open. Wow. He's due to appear at the Westminster Magistrate Court next month. So it's not even clear if has he been arrested? Or is he being detained? I can't tell. Now, this was announced early on.
Because nothing's actually sticked yet. Everything is still allegations. So I don't think they charged him on anything. Well, they charged him, but he hasn't been sentenced or anything. So I don't even think he's been detained or arrested yet. No.
Unlike all these BBC stations. Listen to this.
And let's return to that breaking news of the last few minutes. Just let me remind you what prosecutors here in the UK have said. They have charged the former BBC Radio DJ Tim Westwood.
Again, the investigation, I felt like I kept hearing this rumbling for years, to the point that I was like, nah, ain't nothing gonna happen out of this. To now he's actually charged. So we're gonna have to see.
Counts of indecent assault and 2 other counts of sexual assault. So those details coming in the last few minutes. Here in the studio with me is our senior UK correspondent, Seema Katecha. And Seema, just tell us a little more what the Crown prosecution have actually said in the last few minutes.
Yes, right. So, Matthew, as you say, Tim Westwood, 68-year-old, used to be a DJ on One Extra for many, many years. He has...
Okay. So, not too sure what's happening there, but, I think it's important that, he keeps his presumption of innocence. But I will say this don't sound right when you have multiple people and look like they're all, within very suspicious age. And I guess I'm saying that because, I don't know what the law is there in the UK, but I mean, it kind of shouldn't matter. Especially if you're in your 40s, just generally you shouldn't be wanting to date a 17-year-old or deal with a 17-year-old. The Answer Project, what up with you, brother? He said, your act became my new go-to for late night content. Thank you, my guy. Thank you. By the way, great interview. I was watching while I was on steak earlier. Great interview with 6ix9ine, man. Dan's gonna go get the content. I ain't gonna lie to you. He will. All right. So okay. So I don't really know what's going on, but it appears that everybody weren't that surprised. Like, I think from us, I could imagine the bloke to be doing such things like this. But when these allegations came to light, everybody in the UK, none of them was like, "What?" Everybody was like, almost on some about time shit. So I don't really know, and I don't want to, just kind of like say something to make him look crazy.
Welcome to Australia. Relax. Let our cabin crew introduce you.
I gotta fix my sleep schedule, man. These situation chat. If you guys have not been to the academy.blog, please get over there quickly. There is a flurry of new documents that was filed in court. A flurry. And these things contain so much details. Usually you have to become a Patreon member to see this stuff, chat. But for this one, this was called pro bono. Y'all got to see this shit because the feds are alleging a lot of stuff. They even accuse Dirk of trying to paint the feds in a negative light by sending out his lawyers to do multiple interviews. One that included with me. We did an interview with Drew Finland, his attorney, on Off the Record, where he explained a bunch of stuff, and also he then
I don't understand. I have no idea. Now the guy just walking back and forth over here, and these two people are just going through the trash and recycling. He's talking like, he was really talking about the story. He had no fucking Vicks Vapor Rub at all, no off-brand nothing.
Video progress bar 1 hour, 10 minutes, 5 seconds of 1 hour.
subsequently went on.
All right, this is gonna be Tim Westwood security speaking on what he allegedly saw when he was around Tim Westwood. It's gonna be the last video. We're gonna end this video.
If you had never seen a photograph of Tim Westwood, he used to do these hardcore sort of rap, the early days rap, all the very best, including Busta Rhymes acts he brought to England, and he owned it because he was on the BBC and he had his own rap show. So he was introducing American music to UK, and no one else was doing it. So then he decided, I can make a lot of money on this, and he decided to put on events in England and bring these guys over to introduce them, and he used to charge fortunes. And he put on about 8 events in our place. But I spoke to him the first time I had to speak to him, you know, because he used to ring up and say, how are the ticket sales going? And he had a Jamaican patois accent. And I thought, oh, he must be, you know, he must be from Tottenham or one of the, you know, local black guys, because I never watched his show. And it was a radio show anyway, so I wouldn't know. Next thing he turns up, and he's this pale-faced son of a Sussex preacher, I think he was, skinny, the most out-of-place guy you could have had on the night. This guy was running all of this. And he's speaking in a Jamaican accent. 2 of the black girls, they used to come in and buy the tickets. And they were looking at me and looking at him and saying, what's wrong with him? I said, that's your Tim Westwood. He said, that's Tim Westwood. And, yeah, he thinks he's black. And they used to keep this going all the time. Now, I think over the years, he faded that away. But while he was in the game, yeah, he thought he was from Jamaica.
Have you seen the controversy about him?
Well, that didn't surprise me. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to...
No.
Everything, but yes, I did not like him.
No.
He got too personal in everyone's business, and when you're running any type of big event, dance event, you're a popular guy.
Yeah.
And depends on what your fad is, but you can take advantage of that. You know.
Yeah.
There's not a rave owner, including Terry Stoney, just said it recently in his podcast that he had women throwing himself at him, and by God, they accepted. You know, but he was, yeah. You see, all I'd say is this: the BBC show he did, and the early days now of that rap scene that came to England was followed by a new young crowd. There was no such a thing as a 30 to 40-year-old rap lover, because there was no history to it.
Yeah.
It just arrived, and any new music scene that takes by storm is always followed by teenagers. So that's the crowd we had for his events. I'd say we never saw anyone over 30, you know? So, yeah, I can see it. What happened was he got into a lot of trouble. A lot of people don't know this. Unfortunately, because he's a white guy, controlling all the acts, where they go, etc. A lot of new black promoters in England that were setting up couldn't get in, couldn't get them tied to a contract because they're on a multi-deal contract with Westwood. And with that, I'm sure he told me, if you go in, do one concert for anyone else, you're done with me. So go with them and enjoy it, you know. So they wouldn't do it. They could only deal with small up-and-coming groups. And he started getting threats, dangerous threats from all these different yardie gangs and everything. So for some reason, I don't know why, I think it's because we dealt with a harder crowd. He didn't hire BBC security. He asked us to provide security, and one guy with him nearly 24/7, which was a young Marine that I had working for me. He was only about 23. Simon was his name. One of the best guys I've ever had, but that's soldier type. And he minded him for a year, and something happened that Simon didn't like. Again, down to the controversy, he didn't like. And Simon said, Mick, I don't want to work for him anymore. I went, fine. And about a month later, he was driving through London and he got shot through the window of his car. And I don't know if he had security or not. And I think he was shot in the leg or shot in the arm. He survived. He was lucky now. But they did try and kill him. And after that, he sort of faded away from the scene because he wasn't built for that game, you know. And he just went back to the radio and thought, listen, I forget all these, bringing these guys over, you know, leave it to them. Because they would have killed him off at some stage, you know, because he was closing the door on all the other promoters that tried to come on.
Well, you can understand.
Age don't matter to them, so, you know, why?
This guy knows where Diddy is. Where's Diddy?
I don't know.
Yes, you do know. Tell us, where's Diddy at? Where's Diddy? We need to know Diddy. I'm a big dog.
Yo, baby, you don't have to put your top back on.
A man that grew up well off, whose father was a bishop, screaming big dog and calling every girl he meets baby, and talks with American accents, something was a bit off, but we never thought it was this dark.
They have charged the former BBC radio.
All right, y'all. I think we're gonna stop it right there. We're gonna do a part 2. We'll break it down with the 25-minute video, the dark reality behind Tim Westwood. But for right now, that's gonna be all. Appreciate everybody tuning into the show, man. Liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, hitting that notification bell so I know y'all there, so I can throw it to you when it's in the air, man. And we go on to the next one. And we'll be right back. We're just gonna go to the next topic, which is gonna be Hood Rich Pablo Juan coming home after being locked up for 4.5 years. But we out, man. We gone. Peace.